Okay.
There's 10 in here.
Cool.
Here it
Do you
is.
want me to
This
give
is
it? I'll give you
my
like a 15-minute
partner's big ass.
Okay.
That was him when she got him. They shaved him. Yeah, he was
Thank you.
unfixed.
Is this video on live
6-year-old
stream
street
on
cat.
the
Yeah,
room or what?
they left now.
Yes, there's speakers in the rooms and then there's a live stream.
So if I hold up something, can they see it?
Yes, people will be able to see it.
Fixed it.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Because he was just a male unfixed cat they got off the street at 6 years old. So this is the big boy now. He's just a fat.
Hello everybody. We are getting started. Thank you. My name is Emily. I'm one of the co-owners here at Workers Tap. Thank you so much for being here with us, gathering in this somewhat unconventional space. We appreciate your patience. A huge shout out to Brian and Fox for setting up the live stream and audio. This event would not have happened without them. Thank you to Cookie for pouring all those delicious beers tonight. And thank you to you for sending in your questions. Erica Montgomery has blessed Portland with her food cart since 2020, and she has blessed our bar with her food cart since last May. What we love most about Erica, besides her wings, lemon pepper wet, is her capacity for feeling. She feels for our Portland community, and she feels for the world beyond, whether that feeling is rage, joy, grief, or love. She feels it, and she is not afraid to talk about it. That's a huge part of building community. Is talking to each other. So we thought, who better to talk with a Portland legend than Erica herself. Thank you so much, Erica.
Thank you, Erica.
Mr. Kent Ford has been a staple of Portland community organizing for decades. Portland chapter of the Black Panther Party. As Kent is fond of saying, the rest is history. Erica Montgomery and Kent Ford, everybody.
Just overwhelmed by the crowd here tonight. Let me get settled down here first. Thank you all for being here, and thank you to the Workers Tap and the Erica Soul Foods for organizing this event and for inviting me to speak. We're living in a time of monsters. What is happening in Gaza is a human rights nightmare, according to OFAC. The death rate in Gaza is higher than any other conflict in the 21st century. Israel's bombing has now killed around 30,000 Palestinians in Gaza, 30,000 people. That's 7,000 people than the entire population of Roseburg, Oregon. Numbers-wise, it's basically the same thing as killing every single person in Westland or Tualatin. That this has happened right in front of the world's eyes is a stain on our collective consciousness. For me, it's genocide, plain and simple. This is undeniable. Can we all see it unfolding in excruciating brutality on our cell phones and right here, right there for the whole world to witness? Around 2/3 of Palestinians have been killed, and women and children, according to the United Nations. 2 mothers have lost their lives every hour, ever since October the 7th. Friday, Israel is bombing hospitals, refugee camps, schools, and I want to say daycare centers. Snipers are taking out Palestinians who are clearly holding white flags. These are not just war crimes, and they are definitely a war crimes, but it's a sheer savagery on a scale that is almost impossible to truly comprehend. Those who survived the bombardment has to live amongst monstrous diseases and toxic debris, waters, electricity, and food, and increases scarcity. When I say it's genocide, plain and simple, I'm not alone. Thank goodness for South Africa for showing the courage to take Israel to the International Court of Justice on charges of genocide. Even the court had the good sense to order Israel to take steps to prevent any acts of genocide in Gaza. The court also ordered Israel to improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza. While that is a step in the right direction, clearly it is not enough. That's where we come in. My friends, it is time to connect the dots. I always said that you can't understand what's happening to George Floyd without talking about Palestine. Never has that been truer than today. We witness a global system at work, a globalized racist system. And I want to get on script here for a minute. It was Portland that led the protests after 2020, and not just for the United States, but the world. Mm-hmm. We set the tone here in Portland. Yep. And you can't understand what's going on in this country if you don't know about the U.S. war machine abroad. A line runs straight through. If you want to take it from me, take it from Angela Davis, who recently said Palestine is a moral litmus test for the world. She's absolutely right. Now I have something to say to you, genocide Joe Biden. His opponent called him Sleepy Joe. It don't matter to me. I just want to say ceasefire now.
Ceasefire now.
We need to keep taking it to the streets. We need to keep up the pressure on Genocide Joe. Like Muhammad Ali used to say, we need to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. And I'll get into that in a few minutes, but I don't want to pass that up, so I'll miss it. And back during the Vietnam War, when he made that statement, no Vietnamese ever called me that word. I took it to here, and I hit the streets. And that was back in 1968, 69, a few decades ago. But let me tell you, the man that had his ear, it's the man we call X. He had his ear, and he was able to steer him in the right direction. That's what we used to say back in the day when the Black Panther Party dodged the police and serving the people. We launched the Portland chapter of the Black Panther Party June 1969. Although we had been actively privately for more than a year before that. Once Huey Newton was released from prison, I traveled to Oakland to visit him and get the okay to start the chapter. He asked me if we had any buildings, and I told him that indeed we did. These buildings would eventually house our health clinics, dental clinics, and breakfast programs. After our meeting, Huey dropped me off at my mother's house in North Oakland. It was the next to last time I saw him alive. A week later, we received a letter from Oakland authorizing a Portland chapter status. The party has spread it to over 28 states, including the District of Columbia after that. Our survival programs were the ethically core of our daily activity. By 1970, we had 2 health clinics running on all cylinders. The Malcolm X Dental Clinic was a blustering space. Volunteer dentists saw patients on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evenings. And we're the only chapter by all of them to have a free dental clinic. And it's still functioning today. The Fred Hampton Memorial People's Health Clinic had more than 24 volunteer doctors, some 50 nurses, and were open 5 nights a week from 7 to 10 o'clock. And we had lab techs, orthopedic surgeons, pediatricians, neurologist. The clinic offered free care to all comers. And for your mothers on Saturdays, we had a well baby clinic. We also had sickle cell testing. We tested over 100,000 people nationwide. That's not just the testing, but also the counseling. The community, we can tell you that the community needed this. The dental clinic and the health clinics were packed with action. A free breakfast program up to 125 children each day. We were often short-handed, but by the grace of God, we got it done. Well, I'm going to close by saying we fed over 30,000 kids a month nationwide. And it's one of the biggest and baddest things that we've done. And 5 o'clock in the morning, we get up in the morning, load the trunk of the car up with weapons of mass destruction, bacon, eggs, pancake mix. He headed up to 9th and going to feed the kids. One of the original founders of the Black Panther Party, Ebert Big Man Howard, used to say, "Never have so few done so much with so little." This captured what we were doing in Portland. We also were big on political education, as we called it back in the day. We had a requirement that each member read for 2 hours every day. We also had a reading group. We dug deep into the writings of great socialist revolutionaries from Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah, Baldwin, Malcolm X. We also could, Angela Davis, hold political education classes every Wednesdays and Sundays. Nice to discuss what was going on locally, nationally, and international level. We recited certain quotes aloud and then discussed them. I believe that deep reading is a key to effective activism. You can go a long way to understand policy if you read contemporary writings like Arundhati Roy, Cornel West, Angela Davis, Ashani Sekua, and Gary Young. There are also The Holocaust and the Napak, a new grammar of trauma and history, edited by Bassan and Amy Goldberg. There's a more beautiful interpretive history, the use of misuse of civil rights history by Jeannie Trudeau. There's also Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow. You read it, you possess it, you take it to the heart, and then you take it to the streets. And I just want to hold up a book here. My friends here tonight, the professor. The black community calls him the professor, and I don't want to pass this off. Let me get it here. Got it right here. Beyond Bullets. He's here tonight with some friends. Yeah, I just want to acknowledge that. And I'm 80 years old and proud to be standing with you here today. The fight for justice is a marathon, not a sprint. Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Power to the people. Again, I just want to thank the guys at Workers Tap and for being here, for having this place here. It feels like I'm down where I came up at in the state of Louisiana by the fireplace with my grandfather at night.
Thank you for sharing all that. That was really powerful. I wish I would have recorded all of it. Thank you. All right, so how did you get involved with the Black Panthers?
I like that question. Thank you very much for that question. I didn't come into the struggle via the civil rights movement. I came in via the peace movement, and that's how I got involved. It was the only black organization that was against the Vietnam War. And again, I've mentioned it earlier, but Muhammad Ali said, No Vietnamese ever called me that word. Well, I had a friend here in Portland, and his brother they moved out here, Puerto Rican friends. He had actually heard Malcolm speak in Harlem, and he began to talk to me way back in 63, 64. And then, wait a minute, I want to pass this up again. Get back to your question. Wayne Morris, who was the only U.S. senator that was against the Vietnam War. Well, he spoke at the Memorial Coliseum. He had 4,000 people there on a night like tonight. And he said, you get involved in a war in Asia, half of them are going to come home in body bags, and I'd be damned if they didn't. Some of the guys went to Canada. Some of the guys went to professors, law students, teachers, you name it. People of all walks of life. You go to 18 months to McNeil Island, and you're back on the streets again, and that's where you went. McNeil Island was the island up in Washington. You guys know that. They picked me up on a ride charge, of all things, and what they could have got me on, they wanted to go for the big one, you know. But anyway, I was in jail with two guys, the president and the vice president of the University of Oregon. And they both was and the war protesters. You never see this in none of the archives or profiles or nothing. But you have 15,000 people marching down Broadway, just like we did during the Palestinian demonstration. And Almadata Roy says we made the U.S. withdraw from Vietnam. And thanks for that question.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, you mentioned the Vietnam War. As my uncle served in the Vietnam War also, and came home, and yeah, that was rest in peace, Uncle Wayne. It was difficult for him. How did you get people, especially white business owners and doctors, to help with the breakfast program and health clinics?
Another good question, young lady. A real good question. We had a gentleman out at Reed College, and they train them real good out there. Got two of them on the city council now, you know. Prospects for mayor, you know. But they train them real good out there. But this guy, he was different. And he called me up, and he said, I hear you guys are going to start a health clinic. I kind of nodded my head, you know, and I said, okay. And another friend who had bailed me out of jail, he told him to call me, you know, and he said, this is the guy you should talk to. Then the same guy who bailed me out of jail, old organizer from the early 50s and mid 50s, long when COINTELPRO got his footing. And he says, this is the lawyer you should get, you know, and boom, boom, everything started clicking. But I never would have got out of jail. Hear me real good on this. We went to a meeting over on Northwest 10th and Everett, and they had a meeting over there every Friday morning. We had heard about the meeting at 10 o'clock every morning. And not every morning, excuse me, every Saturday. And we went over, and the police was coming out on the black community just before the Rose Festival. Arrested over 150 people in one weekend. Just so happened they all was black. But wait a minute, there's something wrong with this, you know. And this is the Portland Police Department. And we shared that with them and told them what we were doing and stuff like that, you know. Then they picked me up and took me to jail. Boom. Organizing on the street, talking against the Vietnam War. My bill was $80,000. I didn't know the lady who bailed me out from you. She was an heiress to a Bluebell potato chip fortune. And she came down and bailed me out. And I was able to get out. I knew they didn't have shit. I got out, organized my case, and I'd be damned if I didn't beat it. But anyway, you know, but from then on, you know, I said, well, wait a minute, you know, and then the rest is history.
Wow, that's crazy. What did the state do in response to the breakfast and health clinics?
Repeat that question one more time, please.
What did the state do in response to the breakfast and health clinics?
Thank you. what happened 2 weeks before we started our breakfast program, some neoliberals, you know, with good hearts and stuff, we had a good governor in. He was a Republican, Tom McCall. And 2 weeks before we started the breakfast program, somebody got to him and said the Black Panthers are going to start a breakfast program. And he went on statewide TV and announced that the Portland Public Schools are going to be having a breakfast program.
Wow.
Go figure.
That's action.
It's crazy. You said before the county called doctors and told them not to participate?
No, it wasn't the county. It was the three-letter guys. Yeah, the county was treacherous, but it wasn't that treacherous.
Mm-hmm.
The three-letter guys was the ones that was treacherous.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they went down. The clinic was going for about 3 or 4 years, highly successful. But what happened? They went down a complete list of the Multnomah County Medical Society and sent letters out to all the doctors, encouraging them not to volunteer at the health clinic. And they were going to open a maternity clinic out here somewhere, out in southeast Portland, and encouraging all the doctors to volunteer out there. And you have it on your paper that I was reading it earlier. If they don't come after you, you're not doing nothing right.
Exactly.
Then you know you're doing something right when they come after you.
So why were the health clinics shut down?
10 years, we sustained and maintained them for 10 years, you know, and that's pretty much got into the 80s. And then you had that complete ultra right-wing administration, Ronald Reagan. Yeah. And that was a whole different ball game.
Wow.
Every man for himself, and God help us all.
Truly. One of the remarkable things about the Portland Black Panther Party is that it had so much success in a city where black people made up only 6% of the population. Has it gotten any easier to be black in Portland? What do you say to people who see Portland as a progressive, racism-free haven? What words, let me say that again. What do you say to people who see Portland as a progressive, racism-free haven? What words do you have for young black folks living here? Please help me.
I'll do the best I can. I've been here for over 60 years, and I came here in 61. And, I got acquitted by an all-white jury, and believe it or not.
Yeah, that's good.
And, they wanted to send me to the, where they had the second biggest population of blacks in the state of Oregon, and that was the Oregon State Penitentiary. No questions asked, you know, that's where you go if you're against the system. But nevertheless, I hear professors and talking about the white utopia and all that stuff. 2020 broke that taboo completely, you know. We don't hear that shit, you know. Yeah, let's get in the streets and everybody. Fred Hampton said, multicultural, multiracial, multi-ethical. We're going to be racism with solidarity, you know, and we're going to be organized across racial lines. The Appalachian whites came to Chicago and took Fred Hampton down the Appalachian with him. Supposed to be one of the racist places in the country.
100%.
And he organized it down there.
Wow.
Yeah, and in the Rainbow Coalition, the preachers came along and ripped off the Rainbow Coalition from what Fred had started in Chicago, organizing the street gangs, the Appalachian whites, the Latinos, and everybody. And when the Black Panther Party newspaper, you guys, half of it would be in Spanish and the other half would be in English. We had over 100,000 papers distributed nationwide every week.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and the guys would get together and make sure they get to the airport. We pick them up, you know. And that was the ever present hand of the three-letter guys, you know. And those guys, they get paid good money. They got good retirement and everything, you know. But the people have better retirement.
Facts. I love that. So, what other resistance and harassment did you get from the state and police, and how did you deal with it?
Looking back in hindsight, it actually made us stronger, and we just dug in. and stayed focused on what we were doing, and the breakfast, the health care, the dental care, sickle cell testing, taking people to the doctors, and doing our community work. And there's some really powerful moments, you know, and especially during the Vietnam War, you know, we had classes in the neighborhood, Law for the People classes, when they were picking up people in demonstrations and stuff like today, you know. And I never seen it. Back in 2020, I want to add this. More was accomplished post George Floyd than civil rights had accomplished in over 50 years. Every year, you know, we had a 10-point platform and program. We had number 7, immediately end of police brutality and murder of black people. Number 8, in all wars of national aggression, you know. But every year, you go to Counterpunch. I don't know how many of you here read Counterpunch, but you read Jeffrey Sinclair, you know. Every year, he runs it down real good. 1,100, 1,200, 1,300 people, about 3 a day, dusted by the police in America. But it never did convince. You got a lot of blacks, some decent jobs, decent incomes, and everything. But it didn't convince the police to stop killing us.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because, you know, police brutality is much higher, you know, the highest it's ever been in, you know, post George Floyd. I think that says a lot about the police. So tell us about the counterintelligence program.
The COINTELPRO program, I know probably got a lot of professors and scholars here tonight, you know, and I'm no expert on it, you know, I lived it. And it's got started during the Red Scare back in the 50s. And then Hoover, bless his racist soul, you know, he spun it over to the Civil Rights Movement. And Dr. King and Malcolm and all those, they dogged the Civil Rights Movement, and that's how it got started. When you take the night Fred and Mark Clark got dusted in Chicago, well, the state attorney general, he had a direct line from the Illinois State Attorney General, not the Illinois Police Department, but the State Attorney General, right to the FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C., that it had went down, you know. They came into the neighborhood that night in panel trucks. And then they hit Chicago. They wanted to hit Seattle, but the mayor wouldn't do it, you know. And then they hit Los Angeles. They hit Portland. They hit us here in Portland. And Winston-Salem, South Carolina, New Orleans. The chapters were being hit in pigeonhole all over the country. Again, we took our hit, you know, we dug, and but you don't get mad, you just get even.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that. You know, my 5th grade teacher, Miss Silverio, she told me that one day in 5th grade. She saw I was like presenting something. She saw some girls like being mean, or I don't remember the details, but she pulled me to the side. She was like, "Don't get mad, get even." And she didn't mean she wanted me to like hit them. I don't know if she meant that or not. Yeah, I love that. I really do. Okay, so if they don't come after you, you're not doing it right.
Repeat that one again, please.
If they don't come after you, you're not doing it
I
right.
think I said that earlier.
I love that.
Yeah, but I want to add this. After post George Floyd, you know, I think I read a book one time by Walter Mosley, you know, always outgunned and always outnumbered. That was the one time we wasn't outgunned, we wasn't outnumbered. And we made them back up. We were on the freeways, the streets every day for over 100 days, you know. And George Floyd's a brother gave us a shout out here in Portland, you know. He was on national television, yeah. And I said, I've never been so proud to be from Oregon in all my life.
Aw, I love that. Okay, so tell us about the Black Panther Party's anti-war stance and how you think it relates to Palestine and the Congo today.
Thanks for that question. I want to start out with this. This is a picture of Huey Newton in Palestine back in 1981.
Wow, that's the year I was born. I love that.
I got this at the 50th reunion in Seattle. You can go online and you can pull up all the parties' newspapers on Vietnam, Palestine, articles. You can pull all those up from the Stanford University archives. And
So he was there in the photo?
he was there. And that's one of Yosef Alfaz he's meeting with the PLO. Yeah. And so the party, just like in Vietnam, you know, we took a stance against the Vietnam War. We made it with the Peace and Freedom Party, Peace Coalitions, the anti-war movement, you know, and it's like the lady that bailed me out of jail, you know, and she was in the anti-war movement, and
Okay.
and the guys were organizing, and they were some of the best organized people in the state. I never knew none of these people, but they were extraditing Bobby Seals from San Francisco back to Chicago in '68, where they had a Democratic convention, of all things. And we knew it was going to go awry when Aretha Franklin sung a Salt Spring Alabama, you know, but she missed a note. From then on, it was held in the streets. But let me tell you, Fred went on citywide TV and he said, "You guys come in here, tearing up the American Mall and stuff like that. This is in August." He said, "This is '68." He said, "But we still got to live here when you leave." Well, over a year and a few months later, they dusted Fred, the December 4th of '69. That was his reward.
Ooh. All right, so we've seen many marches and demonstrations in Portland regarding Palestine, but what's next? Organize, organize, organize. I want to know about street corner organizing. Yeah, tell me more about that.
I'd love to take you out on the street corner organizing with me.
I would love to go.
Okay, we're going to do it.
Okay. Yay, I love that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much made what I am today, you know. And being out from 10 o'clock in the morning, I got my Panther papers under my arms, you know, and see a group of 1, 2, 3 people on the corner, go up and talk to them, you know, and they already know that I've been in and out of jail, you know, for doing this, you know, and they listen and talk to them and one-on-1, 1-on-2, 1-on-3. Any more than that is a conspiracy, you know. They'll pull you in on that, and so the guys in the party would say, "Can't the people don't relate to us like they do you?" I said, "No, you guys just come go with me, and I'll show you how to do it," you know. And that's what we did, you know, and that's what it was. And then but mind you know, the clinics and stuff like that, we let the doctors handle all that stuff. We didn't, you didn't have to be against the Vietnam War to come to the health clinics or to get dental care or nothing like that, or to get a sickle cell test, you know, and that's pretty much what it was, you know.
All right, so the genocides in Palestine and Congo are sharpening the rage and sense of urgency of people living under the empire. Can you speak about how protest peace police hurt movements by preventing the spark of revolution from setting the whole system ablaze?
Repeat that last part again, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Can you speak about how protest peace police hurt movements by preventing the spark of revolution from setting the whole system ablaze?
Okay. Okay. Well, I remember speaking one night and up on 15th in Alberta, you know, and it just came to me. And all this sea of people, we had marched all the way from over here to Revolutionary Hall up 15th, then down the freeway up 33rd, you know, and all this support. And something hit me. you can't indict us all. And once we get out there, and they back up. They still backed up. And they tell me some of the markings, even in Washington, D.C., was so big you could see it from the satellites in space. Go figure, And, but these were the biggest protests in American history after George Floyd. Lacking a couple of hundred from being 8,000. And I was out there with my friends and professors and students and people from the corners and the streets, and see, today we got everything all going for us. We got Texas, cell phones, and in those days we have to call a press conference, the old mimeograph machine and all that stuff, and no emails and all that stuff. You forget about all that. If you want to have a meeting, you got to get out there early in the morning, catch the guys when they're out there. So we're going to meet here tonight, and this is what we're going to talk about. Well, you can just do it with the texts now, your emails and voicemails, and with the tech age, and it's improved organizing a lot, and it's still trying to get on top of it. That's pretty much what that thing is. Same way with Palestine today. The exact same way, right? We're being live streamed right into the living room and everything, but it's still going on. Imagine Israel pulling this shit off this day and age.
Yeah, it's incredible. I feel like, we've come about in the information age and just having like the world history at your fingertips now for everybody has been, really eye-opening. And now I think about, my grandfather who was like storming Normandy Beach. Like if they had cell phones and, things back then, like we're watching, that, if not, well, definitely more like historically the worst thing ever in our hands and our eyes are just, there's no way for Israel to hide behind any of their lies or any of their propaganda. Like it's, the facts are facts and the information's out there for all of us to see.
They go by the slogan, we got the most moral army in the world, If it's the most moral army, I hate to see what the ones not moral are doing,
Right, it's like opposite day. Yeah. So, excuse me. You said never kiss up to power. What does that mean in this moment, especially regarding Palestine and the Congo?
Thank you for that question. Exactly. It pretty much answers itself. You never kiss up to power. You never cross over. You never go to the other side. And you always take it to them. And, you take your hits, you bob and weave, but you always come back. And they didn't give us no breaks. You don't give them none.
That part.
Yeah, exactly. So, in my opinion, like, they're just like other people. The power that they have, for like our local representatives, they have, the power that's given to them by, their position, I guess. But I feel like we have way more power than they do as long as we organize properly. But in my opinion, that's just like some dude. They're just people, it's just some dude. Ted Wheeler's just some guy. He sucks. He's just some dude. He's not powerful whatsoever to me.
You don't play politics with you know, with 30,000 people dead and wounded, 100,000 people dead and wounded. You can't play politics with that. Mind you now, just a little over 4 months. Wait a minute now.
Yeah, so nobody's about to like kiss up to any of them for any reason. People are dying. I want to, you know, if I knew, well, I want to go in there and just like punch people in the face at this point and just like hit them over the head.
Workers' Top Battalion.
I'm not saying anybody else, I'm not speaking for you or the Black Panthers, but I personally, I want to make that statement, make that clear to everybody, but yeah, that's where I'm at. They're just regular old people on the street, and communicating with them, I feel like, is kind of moot in some senses, and
Yeah.
I like to just hit them. So, excuse me. What mistakes have you learned from, and do you see any of those mistakes being repeated today?
Thank you for that question. A few of them, but not many.
Okay.
The new generation, and as well as the old ones. I know lots of old comrades and friends here tonight. You know, it's so we know and we look and we watch. You know, and everything seems to be going okay.
Oh.
Yeah. And, you know, and sometimes you know, guys would boom, 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 and end up in jail. See, in my day. Let me go here for one quick second here. In my day, it wasn't no recon. You get out on your own reconnaissance. You forget that. 10%. That's what it was. And so when I got out, you know, had a lot of guys in jail. Been there for days. Couldn't get out because they couldn't make the 10%. And the jail was out by Rocky Butte, the old county jail, Rocky Butte jail. It wasn't downtown, you know, but it was the new place downtown right off the Willamette River. No, it was out of Rocky Butte. You get on the bus in the morning, you never guess who's holding the shotgun. The priest. The priest. And they actually shot somebody and killed him. Wow. And with a 12 gauge, you know, yeah. Whoa. That's a whole. So it's the preachers, the priests, and the police, they all work together.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I want to add this while I'm talking, and so I don't forget it. Yeah.
Yeah, please do.
Right after they beat Tyree Nicholas to death in Memphis, Tennessee, who showed up at the Dr. King statue on MLK with the police chief? They're out by the ministerial lines, the preachers. I knew 2/3 of them. I want to go from there to a bookstore. They had a bookstore in Portland, up on Killingsworth, called a Reflections Bookstore. I've actually had some events there over the years. Well, I said, well, how did the bookstore end up here right next to the police station? Pretty much a wall cut through it directly to the police station. Well, wait a minute now. I knew the lady who run. She's on the city payroll, who ran the bookstore. The only time she could make some money at the bookstore was she got Malcolm X's books in. Wow. That's the only time she could. And who hung out at the bookstore? The preachers. And a lot of them take delegations over to Israel every year. Yeah. The police chief we had here in Portland, the first black woman police chief, where did she go on a junk to a visit to Israel? And that knee on the neck with the that Shulman put on George Floyd. Mm-hmm. That's a whole staple of the IDF forces in Israel.
Yep.
Yeah, we all know that. Yeah, but I couldn't pass that up. Yeah.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. Ooh. Okay, so. What victories of past organizers do you want to see more of today? That's really important. I really want to know that.
Well, basically, let's, with the texts, the cell phones, emails, and everything, let's stay close and stay tight and watch each other's back and be kind and loving towards one another, you know, and you heard me say that now, you know.
Yes, sir.
And look out for each other, you know, and stay, as my friend would say, stay out of the bushes. Yeah. And let's keep kind of like taking it to the people, you know, and educating the kids. I remember I was on a walking tour one day, you know, with a fifth grade group of kids. Must have been about 60 of them. Mm-hmm. And a little girl about this big looked up and seen Rosie Parks' picture, you know, and she says, "Rosie Parks." And I said, "Well, I'll be there." The teachers are doing their homework. And well, you know, that's a whole nother story there. You know, what happened in Birmingham now, and you know, I think we need to stay on these TV stations and these Israeli-leaning TV stations and networks and seeing the mainstream media and all that stuff, you know, and the bias, well, they put the sugar over shit, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
And, excuse me for going there, you guys.
No, say how you feel.
And, you know, and then the business with, I remember we were out right over here at Revolutionary Hall one evening, you know, and reporter come up, you know, to take our pictures and everything, and I got to talking about Palestine back during the protest, you know, and he says, "Oh yes, I covered the West Bank, you know," and right then I knew, and I said, "Who are you with?" He said, "PBS, you know, and they can take a pro-Zionist line in a minute." Mm-hmm. Jeez, those guys. The rest of them, you know, I don't mind so much. Mm-hmm. But the good neoliberal PBS, wait a minute now. They should have reported fair, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why, you know, I'm going to ask everybody. We got some good writers here in Oregon, you know. You go to Counterpunch, Jeffrey Sinclair, you know. Read it twice a week, once a week at least, you know. Mm-hmm. He don't miss nothing when it comes to murders and deaths of people by the police in America. Mm-hmm. What's going on abroad, from Palestine to Russia to China, you know. But I want to add this while I'm talking about so don't forget it. I want to add this.
Yeah, did you write that down? I want to read that. Yeah. Okay, I'm like, my homegirl's over here taking notes. I know she wrote it down. In
the whole European Union, you know how many people got dusted a year ago by the police? 10. In America, about 1,300. These are them. But ever since the Washington Post and another right-leaning been keeping track of these murders in America, you know. During the second Obama administration, 2015, every year, you know, it's been over 1,000 people.
Yeah, it's really important that, you know, because the media is terrible. Our local media is awful. I'm not even going to get into that. It's a whole nother side conversation, perhaps. But I think it's important that, you know, the writers of Portland document what's going on and share that information amongst all of us as we try to build community and organize, because it's important to get the truth away from, you know, the propaganda and the way they try to steer us and lie to us in the media. You know, that's really important. I'm glad you mentioned, you know, local writers. I'm really excited about reading that. So, if you had to give one piece of advice to young organizers in Portland, what would it be?
Okay. I ask that question a lot, you know. Mm-hmm. I would say, you know, First of all, you know, you're going to do it together. You get somebody to watch your back, and that takes about 10 years, you know. And, had a friend from Nigeria, you know, and he said, Kent, where are your friends? I said, they all going to Will to Buffalo, you know. And, we had that solidarity with us, you know, old comrades, you know. And you know how each other think and how each other move, and that's the way we do it, you know. And it's completely different. And they're going to come at you, you know, and they're supposed to. That's what they get paid to do, you know. And that's their job, you know. And it's the old saying, the old Chinese proverb, you know, riding a tiger, you know, it's hard to get off. Now the tiger's got them cornered. Yeah.
That's really cool. Okay, so I like everything you said about community. I love that, like especially building trust and having comrades you can, you know, really count on. That's really important. I think doing things with your comrades to try to build that trust is super important. Aside, you know, it's good to have people. It's good to have people you can call on, and it's important as you like move around to know how each other think, because that's how they do it in the military. You know, you gotta anticipate what the other person is doing, and yeah.
But it's I appreciate you saying about the military. You know, it was a lot more intense than the military doing local organizing. You know, a lot more intense. You never knew when they were going to come crashing through the door. You know. And, so, you know, you've been up all day, you know, organizing on the streets, having the clinics open, walking the doctors to their car after they leave the health clinic, and the dental clinic, you know, and feeding the kids and stuff like that. And you never know how they're going to come at you. You know. But one thing you don't want to do, you don't want to bust through that door. And but they never did. They did that in a lot of cities, you know, Detroit and mainly Detroit and Chicago. And the night they hit Fred and those guys in Chicago, Fred and Mark Clark. And, Fred Jr. was born in jail 2 weeks later. And, I happened to be down in Portland State with him one night. You know, he's going around, and in Chicago they got even a person contacted me from the city of Portland. And they're going to make over 50 historical landmarks of in Chicago. Even when the party held their secret meetings, they're going to be historical landmarks. You know, and they're doing it. They're in the process of doing the same thing here in Portland, making a dental clinic, the health clinic, and everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon now. You know, after George Floyd, and that's why I say more was accomplished post George Floyd than civil rights accomplished in over 50 years. So let's build on that. Let's keep building on that.
Yeah, I love that you say that. Like that's something that one of the principles of the Black Panthers and a lot of organizations like that were successful and end up getting their doors kicked in because of that reason, because they're being watched, and you know, having community control and independence is, you know, it's threatening to them. It scares them, and then they turn around and come and kick your doors in. You know, that's a sign of being successful. So that's really, you know, I feel honored to sit next to you, being a part of that. Yeah, thank you for that. All right, so this is the last question. I feel like I have so many questions. Everything you say, I'm like, oh my God, I have so many things I want to ask you about. Like, what's this? You know, but this is a really great question. 2-part question. Well, what keeps you going and what gives you hope?
I miss that all the time. I was over Lincoln High School one day, you know, talking to a couple of social studies classes, where they combined two classrooms into one, and they had baked turkey and everything, you know. It was really. And the teacher had Mr. Sweeney, Michael Sweeney, been there for over 43 years, and he had prep the kids real good. You know, and that same question. All around the walls they had, think outside the box. And that the question. And this is Portland. You know, it might not work in Seattle, it might not work in Eugene or Oakland or California, Idaho, Washington, Montana, those places, you know. But this is Portland. And we showed them, you know, we showed them here in Portland. And they backed up. Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to see the police station and their windows all boarded up. They just took them off recently, but yeah, I was one of those people that was down there in the street, and that was early. You know, I only been here for 3 years, and it felt really powerful to see, you know, the nation see what we're doing and be inspired by that. And in light of the fact that was going on with George Floyd and them making a mural of him in Palestine, it made me think about the people of Palestine, thinking about Portland and us there, you know, them thinking about like what we were doing here. And it made me really think on, and I want to continue to like pray about them hopefully knowing that we're doing, or like me personally am willing to do equal, if not more, for the people of Palestine.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because after they dusted Michael Brown during the Obama administration, you know, in St. Louis, the first people out there were the Palestinian people with Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, I really love I wish I could remember the exact words. If anybody knows, please tell me, but something that Yemen said in international court recently, basically like telling the U.S. like, don't tell us what to do here in Yemen, like go deal with American racism. You know, before y'all, that was like really, I don't know. Shout out to the people of Yemen.
Yeah.
Speaking up for the world.
Yeah. We need to be more like the Yemeni people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
So I want to add to that. My good friend Betsy over there. I went out to one of the first places she went to when she came to America, where they dusted Michael Brown in Missouri. When she got the St. Louis Literary Award. Humbly ask you, you know, you can go there to read Come September, and, you know, and you can just update it to Palestine. But,
I can't wait to read that too. Right there, you go read. Thank you. You have so much knowledge. I feel so honored to sit next to you. Thank you for answering all the questions and just everything you've put your effort and energy into. It inspires me. I hope it inspires everybody else here listening and watching. And, you know, as a Black woman during Black History Month, you know, it's really important in our community that we honor our elders. And it's, you know, I have a lot of respect for you. I just want to make that important to you, that you understand, you know. So thank you for just a lifetime of work. You are Black history, and, you know, thank you just for who you are. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Can y'all hear me on the mic?
No.
How about now? Can you hear me on the mic? Okay, I'm gonna step up to these. That's all we have planned as far as the
this is all we have planned as far as the questions that were sent in. Thank you so much to everyone who did that. But if there's anything else you would like to say, Mr. Ford, please do it.
No, I'll be around, and I can go for the rest of the night now.
You can go for the rest of the night now. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Erica.
I will thank everybody for coming.
That was so fun. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Aw.
Yeah, the main thing is, young lady, what you do? The main thing is, what you do with your hand?
Oh, I burned myself. That's my card outside. My kids are working in it right now. They're, family-owned business, but those two young men out there are my sons. But yeah, I burned myself.
Okay, but you have to stay out to keep shit from coming up your ass.
Yes, that.
I'm gonna get some pictures of you guys.
Yes, of course.
Can I get a picture of you and Erica?
Will you send this to me?
Yeah.
I got you. I'll move this.
Thank you. I'm clumsy as hell. I appreciate it.
You're just fine.
Thank you.
That's where the open mics held.
Is it okay if
I mean, there's also
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to add. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Ready?
I have all my layers too.
Okay, so can I tell you my random thought? Person who's listening to the conversation. This makes me think about affinity groups. And if the Black Panther Party still have their affinity groups. Yeah. Are you an affinity group? I was. No, I'm not.
I'll send you.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Forgot about that.
I don't know about tons.
That one sounds like a right hand.
Can I tell you another crazy thing about affinity groups I just heard?
Yeah, hang on a second.
I need 12 people.
Ready?
Everybody needs 12
3, 2,
people.
1.
And when there's 12 of us that have 12 people, that's 144. That's the magic.
Can I get a selfie with you guys real quick?
Yeah. Off my phone.
Yeah, I'm still rolling.
Come on,
Alright, whose phone is this?
Just using the built-ins.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
I got you. Alright, you ready?
Is that you? That's right.
Maya, are you gonna get in on this one?
No, I just want a selfie.
3, 2,
I guess I missed my wireless mic cue. I was outside. I guess.
Everything went perfectly.
I'm gonna jump out and get one.
Do you want one just to do that? Alright. We got closer because you two are so close.
They are.
I love your facial hair too. It looks so good. Awesome.
Bouncing off the ceiling.
That gray hair, I love
the
the
top.
hair. You look awesome.
Oh, I love that. Our outfits kind of go together nice. I love that.
I'm cute. I was wondering, do you want
Okay. Well, I think I'll cut there.